Welcome. Today, I am so honored to bring you a very special conversation with someone who is a mentor, who has become a friend, who is someone that I look up to. And this is Dr. Ed Bauman. He is the founder of Bauman College of Holistic Nutrition and Culinary Arts, and so many other things. Dr. Bauman has been leading the way in holistic healing and integrative health for over 5 decades. He's the author of numerous books and cookbooks, including his newest beautiful release, Nourishing Wisdom to Activate Well-Being. This is a book which beautifully blends his decades of research, practical tools, and heartfelt guidance for living a vibrant, nourished life. Ed, thank you so much for being here. I'm just delighted to be chatting with
Always a pleasure to be with Mira and the friends of Mira, which are myriad.
you. Thank you.
And
One of the things that I think is so amazing to me is all of the different things that you've done and all that you continue to share and bring to the forefront of our industry. But you've been a leader in this industry since the 1970s. Like, that's such a long time. And I'm wondering if you can share what first got you interested in holistic nutrition and healing.
oh boy, that's a good question. I was born in the 40s.
Mhm.
So that's amazing. And then I grew up in Washington, D.C. So I think origin story is good. And that's what you asked me really to talk about, is like, how did I get to be me? And I was born this way. Someone else said that. But I've just always had an interest and aptitude in culture,
Mhm.
because food is part of culture. And being in DC downtown, I could see the White House. There were African Americans and Israelis and Chinese. It was just this incredible world culture. And as a kid, I used to play in the park with people from all over the world.
Mm.
Occasionally, I go to their house and have snacks and lunch and soups and smells and taste and food and all that. So, what a blessing to be in the cooker of the world in my early life. And my folks were very open-minded, and we traveled some. And then the funny thing, I was about 10 years old, and I said, "Mom, why are we having Tang on the breakfast table? Where's the orange juice?" She said, "Oh, Tang is really good." And I go, "I don't think so." And then she had this shaker, and you're the ingredient guru. She had
Yeah.
this shaker of Accent. Do you know what that is?
Oh, yes,
The
MSG.
big red, the big red. And she would sprinkle it all over the lamb chops and the steak. I go, "Mom, do you know what that is?" And I'm 10 years old. I'm one of these precocious kids.
Yeah.
She goes, "That makes taste really good." I go, "Yeah, but it's crazy food." And then my mom was a good shopper, and I used to go food shopping with my mom, and she taught me how to smell the food and look at the food.
Oh,
So it's
wow.
really cool that when you go and there's a bunch of plants, in the grocery store, you go, "That's the one right there. That one is got energy, it's got color, it's got, that's a good one." So she also let me cook at home as a kid, and boys didn't do much cooking. I mean, I didn't do big cooking, but I made crazy snacks. and so I just had some of that. And then moving along, I was going to be a lawyer. I was going to be a change agent for, the good and the true. But in law school, it seemed kind of commercial, materialistic, and all that, which it was and it is. And one day, I said, I'm going to study the law of nature and spirit. So it just popped right out of me. And I had already been studying Eastern thought, Eastern medicine, Eastern science, Eastern religion, just the kind of the old stuff. And then I told my folks I was dropping out of law school, and they went, "Whoa, son,
Oh,
you've lost
wow.
touch with reality." I go, "Well, there's many realities, and I'll be fine." So at that point, I moved onto a farm That
Wow.
was great. And I was not a farmer, growing up in urban DC.
So where was this farm?
Yeah, it was in law school was in Boston. So I went to Northeastern Law School, very good progressive law school. Then I
Mhm.
had a girlfriend and I said, let's go west. And as far west as we first went was Western Massachusetts near Amherst.
Okay.
So which is lovely, it's a great area. And at
Yeah.
that point, we hosted the first Vipassana meditation course in the US in
Wow.
1970. And Vipassana is insight meditation. And we started the Insight Meditation Society. And now it's a wonderful part of culture, you know.
That's
And my colleagues or my roommates, they were sort of ashrami. And so we meditated and we did Eastern stuff, but I grew vegetables and pickled and canned them and cooked on a wood burning stove and made 6 loaves of bread on home ground berries, and then started a natural food restaurant. So I was
wow.
the community outreach dude in our group of 5 people in our commune,
Uh,
our holistic 1970 commune. My history starts in the 60s, really, but
mhm.
And then the restaurant was really fun. And so I cooked every day. I learned a lot about health and food through cooking and cooking cooking what's in season and what was locally grown and having a great time hosting events. So
Plus
events,
you had that
that's culture.
connection. Yeah, plus you had that connection to the land because you were growing the food as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's fabulous.
But I'm saying a lot of people in nutrition, it's in the head, it's in the books, it's in the science. They read stuff, but they don't have direct experience.
Hmm.
So now as I teach, I go, what is in a plant? What makes a carrot a carrot? What makes a rosemary? And they go, well, I read that it's good for your eyes. I know it is, but what is it? Or turmeric, which is the classic healing herb.
Right.
What's it look like? What's it taste like? What's it feel like? How do you experience it? Where do you experience it?
Mhm. Yeah.
So from get-go, I've been an academic. In
Hmm.
that on the farm, I went to grad school and got a master's in education.
Okay.
So, my course was set for me, and I always followed my guidance. So nobody encouraged me or told me what to do. I just went, well, what do I do? And I did it. And I never thought too much about success or failure or cost or reward it's just, I'm on a mission to create really a better culture than the one I grew up in.
Sure.
And so the one I grew up in, which is still here, obviously, it's just your basic, middle class, or now it's, I don't know what it is, but I just had this sense of natural community, natural integration of diverse elements,
Hmm.
and really being of service, which is spirituality and action. So it's funny. I've done what I've done through my own kind of inner imagination
Hmm.
and my willingness to go, we can do this thing. Mira, would you like to do it with me? And you go, yeah, sure, of course.
Yeah.
So I've always had a merry band of colleagues.
Well, and in a
and we
way,
and we hang together. Yeah.
yeah, and in a way, you were at the forefront of combining the concepts of holistic nutrition and the culinary side of things,
Yes.
like bringing it
Yes.
together to create a deeper holistic vision.
Yes.
I have to believe that that was not very common at the time that you were doing that.
Well, I just saw the fallacy of dietetics. Excuse me,
Mm,
dietitians. There's some
yeah.
nice ones out there, but the commercial system, the commercialization of life,
Hmm.
really was off-putting to me. And education through marketing and media is just not right.
Yeah.
So, as it were, yes, food as medicine is good food.
Right.
And the other thing about eating for health, which is the food system I brought into being as an alternative to the USDA. You know, I feel like I'm spiritually guided and divinely supported.
Sure.
I think we all are. You know, I think we all. It's not unique. It's just like, okay, there it is. And in 1990, I wrote a model on a napkin
Wow.
for
You know,
eating
there it is
out.
again, that napkin theory. Lots of people seem to do that.
Well,
Like
but
that,
I'm saying maybe that's an eBay item,
I
but
never knew
still.
that you did that. That's
And my
amazing.
wife is an artist, graphic artist, so lucky me or fortunate or all that is collaboration
Sure.
because Chris and I have been doing this together for 45 years.
Nice.
And so the ideas I have, I can say to her and she can create a beautiful image design. And that's something I recognized early on is the impression is right brain as well as left brain. See, because
Mm,
your right brain is art and image, and left brain is linear and science. And then
sure.
another concept I've recently thought of, because now that I'm old and wise, I think of more concepts, is higher mind and middle mind and lower mind.
Okay.
So higher mind is our guidance and our inspiration,
Mm-hmm.
available anytime we're quiet and ask and tune in. So we
Sure.
practice that. And middle mind is what do we do today? Functional mind, okay? And lower mind is subconscious and mostly drama and trauma.
Mm,
So many people are really caught up in drama and trauma. And they
mm-hmm.
are, I mean, they don't choose to be, but they are. So they
Yeah.
don't really think clearly and they don't really open up space for like, well, what's my vision?
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Why am I here? What can I do? And so forth. And then how does that integrate with health practice?
Sure.
So early on, I started to meditate. Early on, I started to cook for myself and cook for others and with others. Early on, I started to do daily physical activity and so I've had a health practice personally
Mm-hmm.
for 55 years. And what I do now is what I did 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago. I just do it better now.
Yeah.
And now I'm not quite as stressed out trying to run companies. Because that's tiring, man. That's how a lot of people get really turned out is, it's like so much effort just to pay the bills or to get through the day, or even now you're calling and it's like, press 1 for nobody, press 2 for
Yeah.
nobody
Mm.
else. And then you
Yeah, there's a disconnect, a huge
yeah.
disconnect.
So I like the natural organic way and doing restaurants and then starting a clinic. I started an integrative medical clinic in 1976.
Wow.
People weren't even born then. And first it was just natural health people, the massage people, the psychics, the nutrition, and then I wrote the holistic health handbook.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a funny story, which I don't know if I'll get into that one later, but I put together the first book I did collectively, and that
Yeah.
book sold 250,000 copies. That
Oh,
brought in holistic with an H, not a W, and
yeah.
H is holy. So I have kind of a practical spiritual, disposition.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, just by thought, I mean, I'm not kidding. I just said it would be great to be working with medical people together, not under them. Because, I don't do under over. We're all here, we're all in a circle. And,
Sure.
and I had 3 medical doctors working at the Holistic Health Center as a team. And one did psychiatry. She did orthomolecular medicine, where people with serious mental illness came into our clinic and would see me as a nutritionist and maybe a counselor or a nurse, and then saw the doctor who did psychiatric evaluation and treatment with supplements.
Mm.
And then we had the first HIV people in the Bay Area in 1978, 80, because that was coming in, that was like COVID. And then we had family medicine, which was largely elder care with chiropractor and acupuncture and whatnot. And I was the director. So I tend to be the director. I tend to be the center of the wheel and then just encourage this collaborative process of education. So education is empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes in our field we prescribe and we don't educate. So the Bauman approach, the approach for the Berkeley Holistic Health Center, which I did, and then the Vitality Fasting Retreats I did for 35 years, and starting a program, which was 1984. I wrote the first curriculum for the nutrition consultant training based on food, earth, gardening. The first culinary program, Mira, I had each student have their own bed of dirt. And I
Wow.
said, in the beginning of the program, I'm giving you seeds or starts, and you take care of your little babies. You call them Brussels sprouts,
Yeah.
and you take care of your plants. And then at the end of the term, you harvest and make a salad or a soup out of your little starts.
Uh-huh.
And that's culinary education from the ground up. And
That's
Chris was the gardener, so she made sure they didn't have too many bugs and kept them wet and and happy. But it's great because being a creative thinker and being someone who pays some attention to
mhm,
what's going on around me, but I'm not overly absorbed by what other people say.
mhm.
I'm not arguing, I'm not copying, I'm a visionary. And
And
also it's kept
you're
me
all
healthy. I'm pretty old now and I'm fine.
yeah, and I would say you're also someone and I've known you since I was a student at
Yeah,
Bauman College in
you were a
Nashville.
sprout once.
I was, and so here we are, almost 20 years later, and I just see this deep-seated well of service. Like the
Yeah.
things that you do are driven by service, by moving the needle forward,
Mhm.
and I love like your latest book, Nourishing Wisdom, has so much there. It's like this really meaty body of work that has so many different things on so many levels. And I'm curious about what inspired you to write it and what you're hoping people get from it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really the holistic health handbook updated. So I remember in 77, I wrote a really cool book about the different healing systems and how they work. And the premise is self-care.
Mhm.
So it's not, I'll find the best healer and they'll fix me, but I'll learn more about myself and what I need and how I do it and so forth. And again, integrative, it works with other people, other systems.
Right.
And I don't know, I just sort of retired, but not. I don't retire. I'm an active artist and creator and collaborator. So I had some concepts. One of them was spiritual intelligence. So
Mm.
with the advent of artificial intelligence and AI taking over the world, they went, AI is okay. It's here. It's not going away. But what about SI? Because
Yeah.
in my mind, I have conversations and SI is spiritual intelligence. And how does that come to us? And it's always been there. It's just we don't use it.
Right.
So I wrote a bit on that, and then I started to think about the roots of healing and the roots of life because young people now don't know this. And also looking at legacy, it's not just I started a school. It's not just I started NANP, which is a professional association. It's not just I've started things, but they're things, they're
Mhm.
organizations. But the eating for health approach is evergreen. The
Mhm.
lessons on how to balance and organize and relate and adapt to circumstance and condition is eating for health. And then this idea of nourishing wisdom is information, is science and evidence and technology, and it's good, but it has to be distilled into understandable, actionable concepts.
Mhm.
And so I collected various pieces of short information like a magazine, because
Mm.
today our attention span is so much shorter, and
True.
that each article in the book is about a 3 or 4 minute read.
Mhm.
And you can hyperlink and boom, go to an article with the title that you're interested in.
Yeah.
And it's based on integrative health and wellness practices. And then also having exquisite artwork and photography.
Yeah.
Because for me, I look at pictures first. Most of us do. And you're an artist, so pattern and color and texture inspires vitality. See?
Sure.
And you know that the imagery really elevates the right brain, and also there's communication there. And with this book, I can put music underneath it.
Mhm.
So just like if I were home and I was reading a piece, I might have some jazz on, or I might have some folk or blues, or you know what I listen to. And with the type of technology we have now, I can layer in some underpinnings. And if I have the energy and time or make it, I can record and speak, because our voice is really who we are.
Sure.
We,
Well,
we,
and again, you're still bringing together knowledge and
yeah,
education and culinary, because there are some really
love
fabulous
culinary.
recipes in that book as well
Oh,
as
heck yeah.
stories and these, I love the way the book is like a choose your own adventure. It's a wandering path through wisdom and knowledge that you've curated, again, in service to other people who are on their own journey.
Here's the notion, okay? Obviously, as a practitioner, as a natural doctor, people go, can you fix my problem?
Mhm.
I've got a rough problem. And people come in with incredibly complex and progressed illness patterns.
Mm,
And so people throw a remedy at it. They throw a lab test at it. They just do what we do in Western science.
sure.
They don't say, let's unpack it.
Hmm.
Let's look at the beginning of it. Let's look at the family origin of it. Let's like really relax a little bit and study it,
Right.
and then also learn from it, and what's the message and what's the action being called for to you. Not to
Hmm.
me, not that I'm Mr. Smarty, but you're the one living your life around the clock.
Yeah.
And how do you organize your energy to bring the love and nourishment to the areas of vulnerability?
Yeah.
That's a very different approach. It's a very different approach.
And
It's
it's
not the
also,
analytic approach, although analysis is one component.
mhm,
And the idea that an ill person or an old person or a little kid, they have wisdom if they can start to tune in and pay attention and be free in their expression and go, oh, it's not that. We never want to say that. It
yeah.
is that. And if that's the way you experience it, it is true. And then
And
what are
it's
you going to do
also,
about it? So the key is, what are you going to do about it? Not tell me the story again and again, but so here we are. What are we going to do about it? And with this book, I like sharing it with other people and reading out loud, because
nice.
that's a home activity. That's
Hmm.
a two people, husband and wife, partner and partner, parent and kid, old person. Because there's
Yeah.
a lot of people in my age demographic, many of my friends, who are pretty incapacitated. And wisdom becomes nourishment for old elderly people who don't have the get up and go. But they have story, they have wisdom, they respond to wisdom, and they're actually growing spiritually. So the spiritual component to me is the most interesting.
I love that.
And nature is a reflection of spirit, so they're not separate. They're all into this whole, experience that we have, of which 90% of that is minimized, ignored, vilified, and destroyed by the powers that be. So
Hmm.
that's the point of all this, is protecting and nourishing a natural way of life that our forefathers, our ancestors, regardless of where we came from, Europe, Asia, South America, Africa, India, there's this culture of wisdom, of nourishing wisdom. And really, when say, what's your dietary, approach now, I go, it's really the ancestral diet. It's your heredity. Start with that and go back to the foods that your people ate when they had their own food.
Mhm.
because your body it accommodates that very nicely. And it's not all modern synthetic and obviously processed, which is a death move. But as I say, the point of nourishing wisdom is to remind people this is life. This is how we live. This is our home. This is our family. This is our neighborhood. This is our backyard. Put a fruit tree in your yard. Go celebrate every celebration
Yeah.
and celebrate life. It's very life affirming, and it's rather simple. I mean,
Mhm.
it's supposed to be even certain complexities, and then like you busting myths around medical illnesses or food
Mhm.
beliefs or diet programs, many of which are more commercial than kind of essential.
Right. Well, and
It's
so that
not just one or two dimensions. It's definitely multidimensional,
multidimensional.
and it can open up thinking, because that's really our goal. Education is to awaken independent thought. It's not to funnel ideas into your head to repeat.
And it sounds like what you've shared about from where you started and where you are
Yeah,
now, you're moving through holistic nutrition and combining all these things and now delving deeper into culture, which is kind of where you started from,
it's
and
true. Yeah.
ancestral wisdom. So, like, where do you see the field of holistic nutrition in 10 years, 20 years, or further down the road? Like, what do you, are we simply on a continued path of evolution, or is there some new thing coming, or what do
Okay.
you think of?
Oh, well, I mean, that's a big question.
Yes.
Because I'm visionary and I'm optimistic,
Mm,
you have to be optimistic.
mm,
It doesn't do good to be pessimistic.
yeah,
There's problem and solution. So the problem is evident. We know what the problems are, and they're
sure.
overwhelming. But the solution is simple:
Yeah.
is care for each other, care for the earth,
Mm,
make food available for people, have community gardens, teach kids in schools how to eat well, be well, build cultures of wellness within the individual. So your first wellness center is yourself.
mhm,
So wherever you are, you're a wellness center. And you incorporate wellness practice and healthy foods and all that in practice. And then you share it with the people around you and you build a little circle. So first there's a nucleus, and then there's a cell, and then there's a organ, and then there's a tissue, and then there's a system. So clearly I'm cultivating a microcosm
sure.
that will grow and then become a macrocosm, meaning, from little to big, based on this traditional nourishing wisdom that I
Mhm,
don't own. Nobody owns it. So the
right.
whole ownership thing, I never subscribed to.
Mhm,
And that's sort of now back with a vengeance. We're going to own the world, or somebody's, some government's going to take over from other governments. And I am a Baha'i, and Baha'i is a religion that honors the oneness of all religion and the oneness of all people and the oneness of spirit. And
mhm,
that after the collapse of this sort of reptile activity of eating and killing and stomping people, the entire world will coalesce and say we need to have a solution that all people are important and all people get taken care of and all people get fed natural food, and we can do that, and then the earth will regenerate because the earth will regenerate.
mhm,
And the kind of this current version of um, activity will be shown to be wrong.
yeah, yeah.
So holistic nutrition, if you look at it as a industry, well, sure, the doctors will hire us. And that
Mm,
was my pitch when you came to school, is
sure.
doctors are not nutritionists, doctors are doctors. And now when I see more ill people and I work a lot with oncology, being in conversation with doctors is important, necessary, and interesting. And they listen to me as much as I listen to them.
Mhm,
And we're in collaborative conversations because they don't have all the answers and their technology is somewhat limited, and even our technology is somewhat limited. So integrative health medicine is that we all have to be taken care of. And the simple truth is sick people need simple food and simple information because they can't process. They can't process complex food and they can't process complex information. And over medication weakens people, and we know that.
Yeah.
So the food is medicine. Food doesn't replace medicine, but there's always this balance. In certain urgent cases, there's more medicine, and then as it's more chronic, there's more food, and then as it's more recovery, there's more nourishment, and then people actually regain strength. Because
Yeah.
building strength is the core practice now,
Uh-huh.
not purity, because we're up against so much toxicity and adversity and stuff. The strong, and I don't mean, and also courage. See, there's physical strength, and then there's strength of heart and strength of mind and spirit. And we know people, and we are people who can bring that forward. And somebody goes, well, my doctor told me I was going to die. I go, what does he know? He sees other people who died, but they don't have us. They don't have the mojo. And that's the thing is when you have an idea, you have a plan and you can follow it, you'll do very well. And you'll live well and you'll live long and you'll get stronger as you get older. So there are various aspects of holistic nutrition, functional medicine, modern technology, AI, all that, which is fine. Okay. But I'm going deeper and wider than that for my vision of holism.
Right.
And I want to see a clean world of caring people. And that's a lot. But if I hold that vision, I am that vision. And that people look at me and they can see themselves. That's pretty good because we're always looking at each other and going, whoa, something's going on. What's the secret sauce? What vitamins do you take? I don't take hardly any vitamins my whole life. I mean, I have them. I'm a nutritionist. I recommend things. So I'm not anti anything.
Right.
But the integrated force of daily practice is good. And if you don't exercise, you got to figure out how to exercise. Plain and simple. You got to, I mean, it's part of keeping your strength up.
I think one of the things that I love is that with Nourishing Wisdom, you have given people a path to help them that combines, like you said, ancient wisdom, lessons you've learned, nourishing opportunities through food, through thought, through like incorporating them into their lives in so many different ways. And so I'd love to know, like, is there one big overarching thought that led you to bring this book out now for people?
Well, it's just necessity. I'm responsible. Okay. I am responsible to do all that I can do to help as many people as I can help through every second I'm alive. I'm a bodhisattva. So in Buddhism, that's one who came back to help others. I am not here for me. I'm okay. I'm blessed. So I am here to inspire and motivate and support and guide and direct and encourage and partner and expand, this living kind of force. I must have other sort of energies that are coming through. And I do that, and I'm glad I do that, and I enjoy doing it. So that's why I wrote the book, because I started just, organizing things and writing things. And then I had a financial decision. Am I going to pay money to create a good product? I go, yeah, if you don't pay money, you don't get a good product. Simple. I'm not the book designer. So I called my book designer and I said, do you have time to work on a project with me? She said, yeah, I don't have any work right now. Because there's so many people who are losing jobs and don't have any work right now, or don't have any food right now. So working with those friends, it's nourishing wisdom.
Yeah.
Wisdom is nourishing. Collaborating is nourishing. Co-creating is nourishing. And my book designer, Phyllis, she comes up with things I didn't think of. And my wife, Chris, everybody comes up with their own kind of input to the soup.
Yeah.
So this idea of a little circle, a little nuclei that's expanding, and you're really very keen on that,
Mhm.
is really special. And that's why the Bauman Wellness, which followed the Bauman College, was a community of learning and a
Yeah,
community of practice and a community of service.
sure.
So the Bauman Wellness has certain workshops and classes and things that we also do. And then I'm teaching people how to facilitate, not how to educate.
Yeah.
It's very interesting because education is mostly information based. This is the facts. This
Yeah.
oil is good. This oil is bad. It's the intellectual left brain thing. And facilitating is, well, what do you think is better, olive oil or canola oil?
Mhm.
And
And
why? And why? Well, why would one be not good and one be better? And so people have to kind of look into it again as they can. Um, so facilitation is, and having people who understand where I'm coming from, who resonate with that, younger people, 35-year-olds and
yeah.
18-year-olds and 12-year-olds. When I give a talk to a 12-year-old group, they remember Dr. B.
Oh,
When I was a young kid, I remembered my elders.
yeah.
And being different, I turned into an art form.
Yeah.
So, oh, you're so weird. My daughter even said that to me, Dad, you're weird. I go, yeah, I sure as hell am. And you'll be one too,
Yeah.
because we are different. We're not part of the mold. I
Mhm.
don't have a box.
Yeah.
I have a field, and I expand my field rather than trying to fit into a confined space. It's not necessary and useful. And even with learning, people have different learning styles. So
Sure.
when I'm teaching and I go, well, how do you perceive and express this? Giving people voice is huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. People
Absolutely.
need to speak, not to listen to you or me. We're pretty big talkers,
Mhm.
but talk to me. What's
Yeah.
your experience when you ate a food? How did it work in your system? And I don't have language. But yeah, people can
Helping
find
people.
it, and that's really exciting. It's really exciting when people have breakthroughs and people go, I tried it and I really liked it, and now I'm doing it, and I go, yay, yeah,
Yeah.
you.
And
It's almost a form of parenting because our parents didn't know what to do, and they were kind of having to struggle through whatever they were. Everybody's trying to make a living or keep up or all that, but now learning is everything. And learning at every minute, at every age, of every stage is fascinating. And being receptive to shared experience rather than this expertise,
sure.
you know? I mean,
And
I'm
and
knowledgeable because I am, but I try not to be, tell people what to do all the time because then they
and
don't.
again, it comes back to culture. Like it
Yes,
sounds like you
always.
come full circle back to culture, which is truly wonderful. And I just want to thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your
Sure.
heart, talking a little bit about your journey with us. And I also really want to thank you for your lifelong commitment to empowering others through
Yes.
holistic nutrition and conscious living, like myself and other people that you've educated over the years, the communities that you've interacted with. Like, you have just contributed so much, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
For anyone who is listening or watching, I encourage you to get Dr. Bowman's latest book, Nourishing Wisdom to Activate Well-Being.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you. I'm
Let
grateful.
me make a comment. The easiest way to get a hold of me is my name, Bauman, wellness.com. So bowmanwellness.com, or my name with wellness, Bauman Wellness at gmail.com. I'll get your note.
Yeah, that's
And then
great.
maybe we'll have a chat or collaborate in some way.
Yeah,
Because you can get the book on Amazon, but Amazon gets the profit. So Yeah,
Yeah.
but again, it's still about bringing this information into conscious field of experience. It's
Yeah.
not esoteric. It's omnipresent.
Mhm.
So we want to make it that way. And I want this book to reach people across the globe as soon as possible because it also gives them hope. And right now,
Good.
if you look outside, it's pretty mucky. And,
Yeah.
and there's a lot less hope than there once was. But this is definitely a vision
Yeah.
of life returning. Yeah.
Well, thank you again. I appreciate you. For everyone who is watching and listening, thank you. And as always, I encourage you to make today a healthy day.
Oh, yeah. Bye bye. Thank you, Mira.
Thank you, Ed, so much.